All right, guys, last video on our ideas. I will have a final video after this to put this whole thing into perspective for you. But I think it's really funny that I've got Adley here for this last topic. You'll kind of understand when we get to it. But let's run through some things real quick. Come on, it's the last video. You got to know these by now, right? We do dreams, personal development, financial freedom, meaningful relationships, and productivity. All right, so when we talk about our dreams, these are the things, right, that we truly want to do. It's inside us. It's almost like it's always been there. It's these God-given dreams, right? And we want to pursue those dreams. But that first we've got to identify the desire, the real desire, not these temptations, not these things that are just kind of casual, but the real passions in our life, the real desires. And when you do, you convert those passions, those desires into goals, which means you're actually planning, you're actually organizing, you're making decisions, you're putting yourself to a time schedule, if you will. You want to get this done. Right? And the way you're going to stay with it when difficult times come is you're going to identify your purpose, your why. The reasons is what we talked about. It's the reasons that keep you there. And you do all of this, but you still got to change who you are. And you do this by changing. You going to see your mama? Okay, I'll talk about you here in a minute. You do this by changing your disciplines. Disciplines, right? Who you are becoming by the way you change yourself. All right? And we do this with the idea of personal development. Personal development. So are we looking at ways to, here you go, Abilene, get your hat. Are you changing your ideas around physical health, right? Are you pursuing ways to actually change your health for the better so you feel better, right? They matter. It matters. How about your emotional health? Are you increasing your attitude, how positive you are, the ability that to bounce? And really, let me tell you this about attitude. Your ability to bounce back from difficulty has all to do with your emotional health. Can you weather storms well and maintain great emotional health, okay? Intellectual health. Are you increasing your particular skill set? Are you adding to it? Are you becoming a master, right? Are you learning, increasing knowledge, understanding? Because that makes you more valuable. By the way, it's not always about what you know. It's about what you understand. It's what you're able to do with what you know, right? Understanding. Okay, not emotional, but spiritual health, super important. It's your identity. You will always be consistent with your identity. When you're not, everything goes out of whack. It's self-destructive. But identifying who you really are and increasing who you are as far as consistency and belief, ideas, actions, those things, that is going to help you spiritually and have the peace, the joy, the happiness that is for you. In my opinion, this is something that only comes by knowing who you are, because knowing who made you, knowing God. Now, let's talk about financial freedom. Financial freedom. Say it, freedom. We want freedom. Freedom to do what we want to do in terms of being consistent with what we're called to do, right? Having our needs met, being able to also meet other people's needs, the freedom to be a blessing. See, some people are not free to be a blessing because they're in bondage of debt, bondage of circumstance, whatever it is. They don't have the freedom to be an impact like they want to. But I think it's a noble thing for us to pursue that. And that all starts with value, number one. Value, adding value in the marketplace, adding value at your job and your business and your community. Add value. That's how you increase your income, is you increase how valuable you are in the marketplace. You also have to understand your cash flow. Manage your money. Manage it. Monitor it. Make sure you know what you are spending your money on. Don't just say, where did it all go? No. Face the mirror, know where it goes. When you do the accounting, which means you record what you've done, you can look back, see what you've done, and make better plans on what you will do. But until you look back, you can't look forward. Woo, that'll preach. Anyways, going back to our conversation. Once you have money, you're cash flowing, you're putting money back, which again is the goal of this. It's saving. You put it back. You have your emergency fund. Now let's talk about investing, right? Growing that money, not by addition, but by multiplication, by compounding and growing. You do this through active investing, which is where you buy something or get involved in something, right? You take $1 and it becomes $3, right? You take $3, it becomes $9. You get the point. You grow it through multiplication, through what your activity mixed with your money will do. But we want freedom, right? So maybe it's good to have that passive income, that passive investing where you take lump sums of your money, mix it with the efforts of someone else that needs that money, and now all of a sudden we're growing. They're adding a value to you because you gave them the money to create the value, right? It's coming back. Just some ideas, right? There's multiple ways of doing it. You got to pursue it, look at it, think about it, right? Because we want lifestyle that matters, lifestyle of generosity, lifestyle that allows us to do the things that we're called to do because we are now able to do it. Our needs are being met by living on the assets that we've grown and developed. So that's financial freedom. Now, let's talk about meaningful relationships. Your family, you got to love your family. I love my wife and kids. You can hear my daughter right now, right? She's with mama. She's a little upset. And maybe you're like, man, how you still doing this video? Doesn't that drive you nuts? No. I love my kids. I love my family. I'm human, but understand something. They're no bother to me. And that's how your family should be. They shouldn't be a bother to you. You should do everything for them. Be grateful for them. They're the family God has given you. And by the way, maybe you're pursuing family. Maybe you don't have family, right? Pray for that family. Pray for those loved ones, those friends, those deep, meaningful relationships that are in your life. And when you find them, you invest in them, all right? Be grateful for them. Let them know it too. Friends, you got to be careful about your friends, all right? Your social acquaintances, because they are influencing you. You are going to develop a lot of your behaviors based on your friends. So make sure that you're picking friends wisely. You're picking friends and surrounding yourself, right, with people that are supportive and want things good for you and you for them, and you actually have a group that grow. You are a part of a growing group, not a group that settles, right? Don't do that. Don't be a part of a thriving group, all right? Let's talk about your network. Grow it. Grow it by adding value, just being supportive, right? Doing good business, right? Staying connected. It's all good. Network. These are meaningful relationships. This is where you all are working together to stimulate the economy, to stimulate your economy, right? God has all control. We understand that, but He uses you. He empowers you to do these things. So, take care of your network and make sure you're stewarding your influence in public. You will influence, inspire, challenge people that you'll never know. You'll never know them, but they will know you based upon how you live in person, on social media. Hello? What you put on Facebook matters. What you put on Instagram matters, right? It's your influence. Steward it well and be a person of impact. Just an idea. All right, time. Matter of fact, we're about out of time, but we talked about putting the days together. Daily putting a time, you're putting your time together rather to where you know what you're doing in the day, right? You're never going to be perfect at this. You've got to be flexible. But what I am saying is get good at putting a power schedule together. Make the decision and live the decision, right? We talked about seasons. Not everything can be done within any season. Like understand there are things that I was able to do as a child I can't do now as an adult, right? Wrong season. There are things that you are going to be able to do in certain seasons. You've got to identify those seasons, because when you try to do things out of season, you're going to stress yourself out. You're going to stress those around you. You're not going to have the peace and joy that you want and need and deserve. You're out of season. It doesn't mean you're stopping to never do anything, but it's about pausing, putting something on the shelf because it's out of season. And then cycles, we talked about that. Getting good at predicting the future based on what you see happening or have experienced in the past, right? It's not perfect, but it's pretty accurate. It's called predictability. It's called statistics, right? Get good at predicting things in business, things in your life, right? School is a cycle, right? Now, sure, there are different seasons in a school, but it's pretty well a cycle. You know, they're going to school this time. In the fall, there's going to be a break, right? Predictability. So make sure that you're planning your life and opportunities, and managing opportunities rather, based on the idea of cycles. Now, the final countdown, right? We're here. And it's the last thing I want to leave with you before I give you a closing video next. But your productivity has all to do with this idea. Legacy. I'm consumed with this idea of what my children and children's children, if the Lord tarries, understand, hey, things can happen, y'all. I'm a Christian, and I'm expecting the Lord Jesus to come any moment. But if he tarries, and I'm left here to continue doing good work, all I'm going to say is that I want to make sure that I leave a legacy that matters. My children's children have a different life because of how I lived. Not just tangibly. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's all about. See, when I have these conversations, people are like, oh, it's all about the stuff. It's not about the stuff. It is a part, right? Because I want to build something that enhances my family's life. I want to put my family further ahead than I started out. I think every parent wants better for their kids, right? But I want to leave them a legacy of ideas, things like this. I hope my kids will go back and watch some content that I've produced or have yet to produce, because I intend to do more and to make it better. But I can inspire them to live lives of contribution, just like I'm talking to you about. I want to begin to think and live in a way that I recognize that my life is not just all about me. That what I do matters to those that I love and those that I'll never know. Who knows? Maybe I will be responsible for inspiring some of the greatest world changers ever to step foot on this planet. And by the way, I don't need to have the recognition for it. I don't need to know it. All I'm saying is I want to live in a way that I'm prepared to do it. That my actions are consistent with this idea of legacy, that what I did on with the life that I was given, this vapor of a life, mattered. I want what's best. I want to become better. And I want what's better for you. I want your life. I want you to start thinking about your life differently. About living in a way, not just about getting by and, oh, we just got to live. We got to go to the, back to the grindstone, right? No. I'm talking about living in a way that matters. That my decision today will affect my life and those that I love most around me 10 years from now. The opportunities that I'm pursuing now, I'm sowing seeds that are going to blossom into harvests in due time. It's a legacy. So, in a closing idea, consider this. What are you doing to leave a legacy? What are you doing to really impact this world? If you're a Christian, what are you doing that points towards the goodness of God in your life? It's just some things to consider. Just some things to think about. But it's this idea, what legacy am I leaving? I appreciate you being a part of this 21-day challenge. I got one more video for you. It's a close-up video, and you can check that out right after this.